crick, and you say crack. That's how I'm going to start this story. Once in the kingdom of Jamaica, at the end of fifth form in high school, you would write your General Certificate exams, GCE. In a time such as the 1960s, this particular year, they were late with publishing the exam results. But this girl donned her sixth form uniform, signaling her intention. The only one at the school to have been so bold. Then again, the radical approach to life started long before high school, and it continued into and throughout adult life. Jack Mandora, today I choose storyteller and educator, Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks. Good evening. This is Profile. I am Faye Ellington. So I have taken some liberties with the storytelling genre, and I think I have been forgiven. Amina Blackwood Meeks, how you doing?
Welcome to the world of storytelling.
Listen to me, man. You were so confident that you were going to
did
pass
I really
your
do
fifth.
that?
Yes, you did.
Wow.
How come you're so confident?
I don't think I was confident I would pass. I think I knew that failure was not an option. It never entered my mind that I could ever fail an exam. And yes, I did turn up.
In
On
your
the first
sixth form
day of
at
that
St. Andrew High
September,
School for
in
girls.
my sixth form uniform, and everybody thought I was crazy. I'm seeing the faces right now of some of my best friends, Charlotte Rookwood, Claudette Brown, Karen Tomlinson. They all thought I was crazy. Well, once I had done that, I had to wear the uniform to school every day until the results come out.
How long did you have to wear the uniform for?
About 3 weeks.
So the results were that late?
Very late.
What did the teachers say to you?
I can't remember anybody saying anything, really. They must have talked about it.
Can you imagine the discussion in the class, in the staff room?
Yes, indeed.
But this, your being bold didn't just start in high school. You're from a family of bold people and boldness. But St. Andrew High School, let's just finish off the St. Andrew High School experience, and then I'll go back to the earlier days. What were those years like?
Well, how did I get into St. Andrew High School? In those days, when you're going to write your common entrance, you pick 2 schools. And I only knew 2 schools. I knew Woolmer's Girls' School and I knew St. Hugh's High School. Why? Because every Saturday morning, my sister and I went to the library. And you pass those 2 schools to go to the library. So they were stuck in my head. And I remember when I ticked those 2 schools on the common entrance application form, my form teacher, Mrs. Walcott, said, no, and she rubbed it out. You are going to go to the best school. And she rubbed it 2 of them. And she ticked St. Andrew High School because that's where her daughter went. She didn't give me a second option. So that's how I ended up at St. Andrew High School 2 or 3 years after the common entrance exam was instituted. So now you want to understand that a little girl from down at Moxwheel Park, yes, going to Moxwheel Park Primary School, step foot into St. Andrew High School, a decidedly not a multilingual institution. I was multilingual. I spoke Jamaican confidently and clearly. And now I had to learn no, and I really saw it go.
So you had to understand that English had to be an important part of this.
Of my
business
life,
in high school.
yes.
Was it difficult to make the transition?
No, it isn't that English was difficult. It's that I was learning for the first time that to speak Jamaican confidently and clearly was not the thing to do. You need to remember that until Mrs. Faye Saunders became the principal when I was in third form.
And she left St. Hugh's to become the principal at St.
Yes.
Andrew High School.
So we're sister. That all of the principals came from Scotland and Wales. It was that kind of school. So I'm sure Miss Dawson, who was the principal when I went in, didn't quite know what to do with me. There were other children of the same cultural persuasion there was Charlotte, who came from Garden Town, and used to hear Miss Lou talking that kind of language, who was not thrown at all by it. And there were other children, but Charlotte Rookwood was my main rock. So I had to go through that. I had to go through the fact that in my class, I knew which girl had a father who was an ambassador. I know which girl had a father who was the governor of the Bank of Jamaica. I knew which of my prefect was the daughter of Ranny Williams. Yes.
What a potpourri.
Absolutely.
That's all I can call it.
Absolutely. Rich, and you had to navigate all of that.
How did you do that? When you look back?
I don't know that I consciously did it. I know that I was just taught, raised to be. And I remember one particular girl saying of me, Amina has a crowd attitude. But I wasn't the crowd. I was just being myself in the crowd. And I remember after I left Snandro High School, one of my friends who went to St. George's said to me, how did you survive?
And perhaps I should ask, how did you survive? But you survived because of the upbringing you had at home.
Absolutely.
Talk about your parents.
I do my work. My mother was very clear that her job was to make sure we went to school. And our job was to make her job worthwhile. So until I was in fifth form, don't be embarrassed, I never cleaned my own shoes. I never looked after my own uniform. I had absolutely no chores during the week. Saturday morning was a different story. But during the week, my job was to focus on my schoolwork. Please understand that my mother come from Lawrence Tavern and that the last time she saw school, it was primary school. Please understand that my father was also a peasant from Manchester. And the last time he saw school, he was 15 years old. And to this day, I marvel. Up to recently, my sister and I had a conversation and we pick out a little library card. Well, Miss Pearl know about library.
That's Miss Pearl is your mom?
Yes.
And your father, what was his name?
Mr. Johnny.
Now, Mr. Johnny was quite a character.
Yes, he was.
There was an incident at St. Andrew High School when he arrived.
Oh, dear
Would
me.
you like to share that? Because he was a revivalist, eh?
And him used to wear revivalist clothes, him gown, and him head wrap, and him penciling and him haze. Now, St. Andrew High School had tea parties as fundraisers, and I love tea parties.
Well, they needed to have a table.
Well.
Part of the traditional.
And one of those activities was being held after school. So you go to school in your uniform, and you're going to have the activity after school, and you could bring your nice pretty dandan to put on. My mother went and get me pretty dandan. And did I not leave it on the bed? I forget it. I would happily have gone in my uniform. But Mr. Johnny decides, say, nobody now go look prettier than me. Now in those days, I don't know what happens now, in those days, you did not use the same steps as the teachers, and you did not use the front steps to go up into the principal office.
That is the students.
Yeah, and I get a message. Mrs. Sanders want to see me in her office. And I know now I have to walk around the back. So I shaking, you know. And I walk around the back and I knock on the door. And Mrs. Sanders greet me. And she closed the door and she goes to the window and she crack it. And to this day, I can hear her voice. She said, come here to me, child, and tell me if you know that man. And I look through the window, I'm my father. So if my father, that's what I said to her. If my father come to school, something wrong. And I forgot about the sanctity of those front steps. And I rush out the room and I rush down the steps. And Mr. Johnny have on him full regalia. And he has come to bring me my dress so that I could look as pretty as anybody else.
We're going to take a break.
Yes.
Amina Blackwood Meeks is my guest storyteller, and you see the storytelling right at work here. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
And they were all treated similarly?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We'll be right back. Storyteller Amina Blackwood Meeks. And by the way, there's a PhD there too, but you'll hear more about that later on. Stay with us.